as expected, the UK, just like so many other countries, at the beginning of the year or sometime in the year, they usually come up with new ways to help immigrants move to the country or to move to their country, especially since COVID, since Brexit, the UK are now having to bring in more workers from different area of the UK. And of course, mostly they want somebody who is skilled. So now they are now trying to include the teachers from countries who were not on the list. Remember that this teaching visas and this QTS route is not a new thing. This has been on for years. It is just that before now, no African countries were listed on this list. So now they are going to add some of the African countries, and over time, it is said that before the end of this year, they will add more countries to the list of people who can migrate or who can come to the UK to work as a teacher, or even if you're already in the UK, you can then begin to teach in the UK. I've made a video about how to become a teacher in the UK, the requirements you need, and as the year goes on, we are going to be coming with more information as they unfold, with how to apply for visas. I'm sure it's still going to be the issue of having to look for your job after you've qualified and then applying for visa, just like so many other routes. Now, what I want you to know before you carry your bag and take this job and decide to move to the UK to come and teach, or even if you're already in the UK, before you take that job, these are the things I want you to have at the back of your mind. Please note, I am not discouraging you. I'm not asking you not to come, because at the end of the day, once you get to the UK, it is going to worth it, because you will find a way to make it worth it. But I want you to have this at the back of your mind. The first and most important thing I want you to know is teaching back home, especially if you're from Africa, is very, very different from teaching in the UK. Back home, as a student, when I was a student, we respect our teacher. We obey our teacher, just like we obey our parents. We see teachers as God. Some of us even fear some teachers more than we fear our parents. I can remember what some of those teachers did to someone like me. So we see teachers as a small God. We respect them, we obey them. A teacher can tell you to kneel down just because you came 5 minutes late. You cannot talk back at your teacher. You get punished, you get beaten. And I'm not saying things are not changing even back home, but I'm saying that teaching abroad, teaching in the UK is very different from teaching at home, because here, part of the curriculum, the teachers, you as a teacher, you have to teach the child their rights. And their rights include they cannot be beaten, they must not be intimidated, they have to be given a voice. As much as I'm saying this is a good thing, it is also a bad thing, because children in this country, some of them, most of them do not have home training. I stand to be corrected, but I know what I'm saying. Children here do not have the same mentality as you. And if you're coming from an African country, or you're coming from Africa, coming from whichever country you're coming from, with that same mentality of being a senior, you must call me Mrs., you must call me Miss, you must not call me by my name, you must obey me, that will not work for you. Because here, students are very important. They are, I don't know, there's a way, in fact, even the things my nursery child, a child who is in nursery, the way their teacher treats them, I also usually wonder. Another thing you need to know is that you have a lot of paperwork. It is not like where you're from. I'm not saying our education standard is not good, but I'm saying there's a lot of paperwork. You have to do your job. You have to know what you're doing, because number one, this is an era of technology. My son, who is in primary 6, most of his classmates have iPhones. So they browse and they take it to school. Although he said when there's lecture, they don't allow them to use the phone. But I see no reason, me personally as a parent, why children like that should have iPhones, and they can browse whatever information you're giving them. They can easily browse. They will use their phone while you're talking to them. They will have their hand in their pocket. They will wear mini skirts. They will misbehave. They will do whatever they want. And most of the time, you cannot do anything, because these children are raised and bred differently from the children that you know. So if you think you're coming to abroad to come and teach these children, you need to be prepared to be able to have a balance between what you know and what you need to learn. I have somebody who has been in this country for years, an older woman who shared her experience with me working as an assistant teacher when they were trying to create, all these things we used to do for Christmas. There's this round thing we used to join together. She's from Nigeria. We join it together and it makes a long rope like this. We use paper to do it like a ribbon, just like a ring, like a chain. It just goes. She brought this initiative, she made it, and she was showing the children and said this is how they used to do things do in her country. And when she was doing it, her other colleagues were smiling, they were playing with her. Just like as a nurse, if you work in a care home, if you're working in the hospital, your colleagues, they'll be smiling with you, but at the end of the day they will still gossip about you, no matter who you are, no matter how much they like you. That is the culture here. They were with her smiling. The next thing, they came to call her and said, I will not call her name. They said you're needed in the principal's office. When she got there, what was her crime? Her crime is that why would she bring such initiative when because she did not allow the children to use their brain to bring the initiative themselves? Why would she be the one to make it and be telling the children this is what they used to do? Is she sure she knows what she's here to do as a teacher? Because this is not Nigeria. Can you imagine if you're a teacher, you're coming from somewhere, and especially if you've been sponsored to come and work in that school, you're on a visa, you're restricted, you cannot just get angry. Although she was like, I cannot work here, she left. But if you're on a visa, you're restricted. That is why I'm telling you that teaching in the UK is very different from teaching back home. It is going to be stressful. Another thing I want you to note is, as long as the money sounds enticing, the money sounds good, they said £28,000 a year, and it sounds really good by the time you've converted it into your currency. It sounds very, very good. But remember, the things you're going to be buying, your expenses are also in pounds. And even before we come to the country, we're like, oh, that money is so good. But when we get to reality, we're going to see that that money is nothing. I'm not saying you're not going to be able to save, but I'm just saying that your expectation should not be as high as it is right now. For the time you get your visa and you come to the country, you need to be intentional. You need to know that it is not as easy as we content creators or as the visa sounds, as we are making it look. It is not going to be that easy, that effortless to teach people in this country. Another thing I will want you to know is you will have to improve yourself. You've got your certificate from your country, which may or may not be recognized in the UK, but you have to look for a way to then improve yourself. Either you go for your masters, certificate courses, because we unfortunately have to prove ourselves more than some people have to prove themselves. I'm not saying they're going to be different with you, but I'm just saying that you have to learn. You have to know that when you come into the country, you have to try to improve your skill, improve yourself, improve your communication skill, because you don't speak the way these children speak, you don't talk the way they talk. Half of the things you're going to be saying, they will not understand, you will not understand them. So you have to be ready to learn and be open to criticism, open to learning new things, open to speaking to people to understand how things work. And it may be a little bit difficult when you get into the country. Before this visa thing becomes rampant and everybody will come into the country, and at the end of the day they will say, nobody told me. Remember, GLORIAotikor told you. Sometimes you are going to be faced with lack of support from parents who expect too much from you, because when I see like all my children, I have 3 children, each of them have something they call seesaw. Although you may be teaching in secondary school or higher level, but this is a primary level I'm sharing my experience from. We have seesaw where we log in, we see the things that our children are doing every day, we see their work, we see their homework, we have the chance to comment and communicate with their teachers. They call us into the school once in a while to come and speak to the teacher, to express ourselves. My child is in nursery, I go into the school to go and play with her, have tea with the teachers and things like that. So parents have a lot of saying in the life of their children. And some comment I see on those platforms, I just wonder, I'm like, why are you not even grateful that these teachers are teaching your children? They will complain about so many things and you will feel you're not being supported. I have a colleague who has more medical needs than other children. That's what I would just say. She has more medical needs than other children. This child in the class will cause trouble. Let's say there was a time this child was asked not to come to school for the week, suspended, because the child will not leave the class when they asked the child to leave the class because he was being disrespectful, and they suspended this child from school. Instead of this parent to, of course, blame that child, number one, what they did was they blamed the condition this child had. And of course the child has got a condition, but the parent was angry at the teacher than being angry at the child or being angry at the condition. They were angry at the teacher. And at the end of the day, she was going to the school to go and tell off the teachers for not supporting her child the way the child should be supported. I understand so many parents are being frustrated, and they have children who have special needs, but you as a teacher in this country, especially the UK, you're going to be faced with children who are going to be requiring more patience. These children are just very, very different from the children you know back home. You will also feel that you're not being supported by your administration. Sometimes you take cases to them, or you feel that they are not supporting you enough. It is in all jobs. When you come abroad, it is not unexpected. You know what I mean? It is expected. When you have come abroad, things are not going to be the same. But I'm just saying, as a teacher, you have to be ready for these things. Be ready, have these things at the back of your mind, so that once we are telling you about this visa, as we are telling you about these visas, about these jobs, about how you can come abroad, you have these things at the back of your mind, that it is not greener on the other side. It may be more green, but it may not be the best. You know what I mean? Expect these things. The workload as well. Every job there's workload. The workload of teachers are also very, very high. Sometimes I'm at home and my children's school teacher will be responding to maybe the assignment my son submitted, let's say at night. When I come home from work and I'm like, oh, let's do your homework, and we submit it via the submission link, I'll see the teacher commenting and respond. I'm like, why is this teacher not sleeping? You have lots of workload, and she has to do that because she has to respond to all the students. It is very, very stressful as a teacher in this country. You have to know what you're doing. You have to know your stuff as well. You have to also watch out for scammers. Just like the care assistant visa came out and everybody were getting excited, scammers started surfacing from different angles, scamming people of money. And apart from even being scammers, people who will take advantage of the opportunity. Now some people sell certificate of sponsorship, they sell different things just to bring you to the UK. Be very careful and don't be too desperate that you fall victim of all this scam. I hope this video has been helpful. If it has in any way, shape or form, please, I'm begging you now, I want us to grow. Because press the subscribe button, leave a comment, share this video, and I'll see you in another video. Until then, stay focused, do not give up, you can do it, and sky is your starting point. Good luck this year. See you. Bye.